So our first question, what what question, what were the major causes of 1857 revolt, and highlight the administrative and political changes it affected thereafter. So what are the major causes of 1857 revolt, and highlight the administrative and political changes it affected thereafter. The 1857 revolt is a watershed event in the British policy towards India. It is a watershed event. Please remember, important. So it is a watershed event. So here question tell you the major causes. What are the major causes? Okay, and highlight the administrative and political changes. So it's affected this revolt. So mainly administrative and political changes. Please give your answer. Okay, this purpose. So major causes of the revolt, the economic causes. The most important cause of popular popular discontent was the British policy of economic. So it is the most important cause of popular discontent was the British policy of economically exploiting India. Okay, so because British economically exploiting India. Okay, and the peasant suffered due to the high revenue demand and the strict revenue collection policy. So peasant suffered due to high revenue demand by the British and the strict revenue collection policy. And artisan and craftsmen were ruined by the large-scale influx of the cheap British manufactured goods into India. So artisan and craftsmen were ruined by the large-scale influx of cheap British manufactured goods in India. Political causes. What are the political causes? The British policy of territorial annexation leads to the displacement of large number of rulers and chiefs. The British policy of territorial annexation led to the displacement of a large number of rulers and chiefs. Political causes. Because British policy of territorial annexation led to the displacement of a large number of rulers and chiefs. Social causes. The social reforms introduced by the British were looked upon with suspicion by the conservative section of the Indian society. So social reforms mainly introduced by the British were looked upon the suspicion, okay, by the conservative section of the Indian society. Okay. So next, religious causes. So religious causes. A major cause of the outbreak of the revolt was the fear among the people that the British government was determined to destroy their religion and convert Indians to Christianity. So here question just tell you what were the major causes of 1857 revolt. Okay, so first you gave the cause and then highlight the administrative and political change which is affected, okay, this revolt. So here now we discuss social causes and religious. A measure of the outbreak of the revolt was fear among the people. The British government was determined to destroy the religion and convert Indians to Christianity. Military causes. So military causes mainly important. It is the Indian sepoy were looked upon as inferior. Indian sepoy were looked upon as inferior begin and contempt treated with contempt by their British officers. They were paid much less than the British soldiers. All revenue of the promotion were closed to them, as all the higher army posts were reserved for the British. So that's why military are affected, and military now they also now destroy British army. Okay, so Indian people were looked upon as inferior, being and treated with contempt by the British officers. They were paid much less amount of money, okay? And they have no any promotion. So that's why. And administrative changes theory. If an act of Parliament 1858 transferred the power to governor from the East India Company. So Act of Parliament 1858 transferred the power to governor from the East India Company to the British Crown. Okay, so and the Indian Charter Act, the Indian Council Act of 1861 enlarged the Governor General. The Indian Council Act of 1861 enlarged the Governor General's Council for the purpose of making law, in which capacity it was known as the Imperial Legislative Council. The Indian Council Act of 1861 enlarged the Governor General's Council for the purpose of making laws. Okay, so mainly making laws, in which capacity it was known as the Imperial Legislative Council. The first step in the direction of separating central and provincial finances was taken in 1870 by Lord Mayo. The first step in the declaration of separating central and provincial finances was taken in 1870 by Lord Mayo. Okay, and in the Indian Army was carefully recognized after 1858, most of all to prevent the recurrence of another revolt. Indian Army was carefully recognized after 1858, most of all to prevent the recurrence of another revolt. And 5. The maximum age for entry into civil service was gradually reduced from 23 years in 1859 and 19 years 1878. Political changes. Political changes. British attitude towards India. Just wait. So British attitude towards India and consequently their policies in the subcontinent changes. The British attitude towards India and consequently their policies in the subsequent changes for the wars after the revolt of 1857. And before the 1857 they had tried, however, half-heartedly and hesitatingly to modernize India, they now consciously began to follow reactionary policies. Okay, so it is very very important. So reactionary policies now they follow. Okay, after 1857. After 1858, they continued to follow this policy to divide and rule, turning the princes against the people and province against province, province and caste against caste, group against group, above all Hindus against Muslim. So now they also their work is very bad now. 1857, after 1858, okay, they continued to follow divide policy, okay, policy of divide and rule by the turning princes against the people and province against province and caste against caste, group against group, and above all Hindus against Muslim. So important it is. So while social activities, social service like education, sanitation, and public health, okay, social service like education, sanitation, public health, water supply, rural roads made rapid progress in European during 19th century. So and they maintained, and India they remained at an extremely backward level. Okay, so on the other hand, we can see that European they also rapidly grows, but in the 19th century, but in India it is mainly backward level now. This time, the revolt of 1857 and the atrocities committed by both sides had further widened the gulf between the Indians and the British, who now began to the openly assert the doctrine of racial supremacy and practical racial arrogance. So, revolt of 1857 and the atrocities committed by both sides had further widened the gulf between the Indians and British, who now began to openly assert the doctrine of racial supremacy and practical practice racial arrogance. Okay, so now we discuss full concept and what are the actual answer. Okay, and why British want to divide India. So after this time, and what are the major reactionary process by Indian people, you can see, and what are the administrative and political changes. Now we've seen all the things. Thank you. Okay.